My Dad, the Game Warden, by Sheridan Pickett, Mrs. Barron's class, 5th grade. My dad is the game warden for all of the mountains as far around as you can see. He works hard during hunting season and gets home late at night and leaves early in the morning. His job is to make sure hunters are responsible and that they obey the law. He can be a scary job, but he's good at it. We have lived in Saddle String for 3.5 years, and this is all he has done. Sometimes he saves animals from danger. My mom is home, but she works at a stable and at the library. Joe knew he wasn't alone on the mountain. Earlier, he had seen a late model bronze-colored GMC pickup below him in the bowl. Swinging his window-mounted Redfield spotting scope toward it, he caught a quick look at the back window of the pickup. Driver only, no passenger, gun rack with scoped rifle, Wyoming plates with a buckaroo on them, and an empty truck bed, indicating that the hunter hadn't yet gotten his elk. He tried to read the plate number before the truck entered the trees, but he couldn't. Instead, he jotted down the description of the truck in his console notebook. It was the only vehicle he had seen all day in the area. 25 minutes later, the last of the elk sniffed the wind and moved into the clearing, joining the rest of the herd. The elk seemed to know about the storm warning, and they wanted to use the last hours of daylight to load up on food in the grassy meadow before it was covered with snow. Joe thought that if the lone hunter in the bronze pickup could see the meadow, there would be a wide choice of targets. It would be interesting to see how the scenario would unfold, if it unfolded at all. There was just as much chance that the hunter would simply drive by, deep in the trees, road hunting like 90% of all hunters, and never know that an entire herd of elk had exposed themselves above him in a clearing. Joe sat in his pickup in silence and waited. With a sharp crack, then 3 more, the calm was shattered. The shots sounded like rocks thrown against sheet metal in rapid succession. From the sound, Joe registered at least 3 hits, but because it often took more than a single bullet to bring down a big bull elk, he couldn't be sure how many animals had been shot. Maxine, his yellow Labrador, sprang up from where she had been sleeping on the pickup seat, as if she'd gotten an electric shock. Below, the herd had come alive at once and was now running across the meadow. Joe could see that 3 brown dots remained behind in the tall grass and sagebrush. 1 hunter, 3 elk down, 2 more than legal. Joe felt a rush of anger and of anxiety. Game violations weren't uncommon during hunting season, and he had ticketed scores of hunters over the years for taking too many animals, not tagging carcasses, having improper licenses, hunting in closed areas, and other infractions. In many cases, the violators turned themselves in because they were honorable men who had lived and hunted in the area for years. Often he found violations as he did random checks of hunting camps. Sometimes other hunters reported the crimes. Joe Pickett's district took up more than 1,500 square miles, and in 4 years he had almost never actually been present as a violation occurred. Snatching the radio transmitter from its cradle, Joe called in his position over a roar of static. Distance and terrain prohibited a clear signal. The dispatcher repeated his words back to him. Joe confirmed them, and he described the bronze pickup and advised that he was going to approach it immediately. The answer was a high-pitched howl of static he was unable to squelch. At least he thought they knew where he was. That, unfortunately, hadn't always been the case. "Here we go, Maxine," Joe said tersely. He started the motor, snapped the toggle switch to engage the 4-wheel drive, and plunged down the mountain into the dark woods. Despite the freezing air, he opened the windows so he could hear if there were more shots. His breath came in puffs of condensation that whipped out.